All right, which find the general with music, and I was just getting ready to dial the number, but I guess it's called in. Alan, how are you, buddy? You're on live.
You can hear me, huh?
I can hear you just fine.
All right, buddy. It's great listening to this stuff. It's great.
I'm glad. It's great to talk to you today, Alan. And, you know, the first thing I got to ask you is, how does a Scottish-born boy from Australia wind up in Texas?
Long story, mate. Long story.
I can imagine.
I lived in New York. Actually, I lived in Queens in there for like 5 years. We over there in Ditmars Boulevard in Queens. And
oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I had recorded out of the record plant and toured out in New York and actually for about 4 years or something. Old management company up there, Lever Krebs.
Yeah, New York was a great place. I still is, but back then it was a great place for rock and roll, man. There was so much going on back in the day, so much happening, and you know I've been a fan of the band since you guys started out. And I got to tell you, in the beginning, when Heaven came about, it was very confusing because when the Twilight of Mischief album came out, you know, we got it from the import stores here in New York. And then, you know, Heaven then came out. Everybody thought it was a different band at the time. It was the same band, but we didn't have an internet to look things up on back then, so you didn't know any better. Was that confusing at the time for you guys?
There was a band in Yonkers at the time, I think, had the name Heaven. And we couldn't release it. We couldn't release it there in America. Until, I don't know, it cost like $60,000 or something. We bought them out, and the only way we could release the album in America was to put Ben underneath it. So it was Heaven Ben actually in America.
Yeah, because people were always confused if that was the name of the record or the band. I didn't even know there was another band in Yonkers. And $60,000, those guys made out. Yonkers wasn't even worth $60,000 back then.
Yeah, tell me about it. And it seems that everybody makes a bit of money somewhere, don't they?
Yeah. That's incredible, but the album comes out. I remember the videos of Fantasy, and in the beginning, it was great stuff. And the band was on such a roll back then, and a couple of years, a couple albums, and we didn't hear nothing from you guys by the late '80s.
Yeah, no, it was strange. We came in at a bit of a freak out time there, you know, with that AARP thing and everything like this, and they were all, you know, trying to change all the lyrics and change this and change that. You know, Twisted Sister got into the big game there and that sort of thing. But Heaven was doing really good. You know, but I heard you earlier in that talking about Lamore's there in Queens and Brooklyn and that.
Yeah.
Some great gigs and you know, I think the only way we could do it is maybe change our style of music to this grind metal porn or something. You know, I don't know.
No need for that, man. I mean, the music you guys put out was always top notch. And one thing, you had some band together when I guess the band broke up in the late '80s. But when you came back, you had Brian Robinson in the band, Jimmy Bain.
Yeah. No, back in Dallas and that when we toured right up here. Oh boy, to the late '80s. You know, we were on tour with Maiden and Saxon Priest, Crew, Kiss. You know, Bloody Dio.
Yeah.
And we went back to Australia to headline a tour again, and some of the guys didn't want to come back, and I came back in '85 and formed a new lineup there with Mitch Perry out of Tallis and Keel and everything like that. Dennis Spellman out of Schenker and Mark Cunningham out of Derringer, and we put together an American outfit. So that's what got us back here into America, and you know, the rest is history. We did that for I don't know how many years, touring with all these people and everything like this. And, you know, distance, you know. I moved to Texas. Management was breaking up. Mitch was in L.A. The rest of the guys were in New York. You know, I put a couple of different outfits together when I'd done some gigs and that sort of thing up in the Midwest. And, you know, once in a while, I'd reform the thing. We'd go back. We did the Priest tour of Australia back in 2001, 2002, or whatever it was, and you know, come back to the States again, and you know, just trying to figure out how to get all the logistics together to make it happen. And that's when it was done. I'm off track a little bit here, but that's when I was down here in Texas, management, and then I got Brian Robinson from Thin Lizzy. Robbo came in.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Bain out of Dio, and I used a couple of guys from Dallas here. We recorded a brand new album. It was great, but the politics and all the bullshit started hitting the fan, and we recorded an album. It got shelved.
That seems to be the problem that happens a lot in the industry with the bands, is that there's a lot of problems with management and from just outside forces that kind of work their way into the band, and it just kind of kills anything good that's going on, and they just can't seem to survive it. That sounds like what kind of happened with Heaven.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff hits the fan there. It's between management and the record companies, and everybody wants a piece of this action, and they don't want to give anything back to the band, And we're the guys that wrote stuff.
Well, back in the day, you were managed by the same people that were working with AC/DC, because I remember hearing that you tried out for the band. You had the gigs pretty much based on half the group.
Yeah, Lieber Krebs actually, when I came back to the States and I picked up the management of Heaven, I was signed up with those guys, and they managed AC/DC, Def Leppard, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, you name it, even Michael Bolton at the time, and I went for the gig in Australia and that sort of thing. I got a call on that, and went over and seen George and Harry there, and went in the studio, and he took out Bond's voice and shoved my stuff on some of the stuff off of Highway to Hell and everything like this, and I was sitting home in Adelaide, South Australia at that time back in 1980, and comes on the TV that I'd gotten the gig with Akadaka, with AC/DC,
Yeah.
And nobody was supposed to have known this. Meanwhile, the rest is history. It was great. Brian was in London at the time, and Geordie and that, and trying out for the band, and he got the gig in that. But George Young, Angus and Malcolm's, big brother, and that, wanted me in the band, and that's when I formed Heaven. I came to America, and rest is history there, So we've been trying ever since, and I'm just about to embark on a reunion with the original rhythm section back in Australia. Heaven's going to be doing the Last Temptation tour of Australia, starting off on June the 14th of this year.
Oh, nice. That should be great, man. I remember back in the days, Alan, you guys went MTV all the time with, Fantasy and Rock School. You must have gotten laid left and right back in the day. Come on, you can admit it on here.
Oh, God, yeah, I probably had more women than guys up at hot dinners, to tell you the truth.
I'm sure. And I know one, what do you call it, where Angels Fear the Tread, you had Ronnie on there, Ronnie Dio was singing on there with you, Glenn Hughes, and Lita Ford.
Yeah.
Did you get to bang Lita Ford back in the day?
Nah, man.
Lita, everybody else did. Why didn't you?
Nah. I seen her stark naked walking around the house. That was about it. But when we lived in Hollywood, we lived in the Valley there, and Heaven House, it was great, man. We had some great parties there. But Lita actually was going with Coxie, Mick Cox, a rhythm player at the time on that second album there. He was with Rose Tattoo. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, Coxie was out of the Tats, and he hooked up there with Lita, and Lita was staying at the house, and oh man, she was just one of the boys, except be buggered if I'd walk around stark naked, but she did, so.
Yeah.
Yep, just I got to bang and Lita,
Yeah, that's one boy I wouldn't mind laying down with, so I mean, I'll take it anytime. But that's some good stuff, man. But I know you sent me over a few new songs. I was playing them since last night. Man, they are so kick-ass. I mean, this sounds like what should have been on the next Heaven record back in the day. And they're just so powerful. It's just pure, balls out rock and roll. Are we going to see a new Heaven record this year, you think?
When I go back to Australia, and I'm taking Mitch Perry. Mitch played on the third album, on the Heaven's Door album.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be a legitimate Heaven lineup. I got John Hayes on rhythm guitar, Laurie Marlowe, the original bass player, Joe Turner on drums, Kelly, the original guitarist. Now, he passed away a couple of years ago, so it's only fitting in that to get like Mitch Mitch, a great guitarist as well, and myself. And so this is like a 30-year reunion, and it's done a 360. And, everybody's got all new material, so hopefully we'll see what the hell happens.
Yeah, I tell you, I wish I was in Australia. While you're over there, you think maybe you'll have like a Chamalusi reunion also?
Oh, shit. Where do you find all this shit, man?
I got a lot of time on my hands. I mean, I got nothing else to do with myself.
Didn't you? You've done your homework here, mate.
You can always put that back together for a couple of, like, one-offs while you're there.
Chamalusi. Shit. Oh, my God. I give you more credit here, Mike. I tell you, mate. I'm shocked and stunned.
Yeah, that's an old one. I know. Well, that was before Fat Lip. I mean, but nothing ever came out of those bands like recording wise, did they?
I've got some recordings of. I was in Adelaide, South Australia, when we were first starting up. I was in Chamalusi, and we opened up for Sherbet at the time, which was one of the biggest bands in Australia, and done all that sort of thing. And then I started up Heroes, Fat Lip. Which Fat Lip went into heaven, and then the rest is history. But yeah, we did some recordings. I'll send you a couple of the things in there. It's quite.
Man. I would love to hear that stuff, man. And you were talking about Australia. You were talking about Brian Johnson before. Brian was in a band back then. I can't remember the name of it. It had to be maybe, I want to say the late '60s, maybe early '70s. There were two singers in the band. He was one of them. And I did a lot of cover songs.
Oh, what do you mean? Are you talking about Geordie or are you talking about Bon?
It wasn't Geordie because there were two lead singers in the band. He was one of them, and there was another guy.
Yeah, it was Fraternity, actually. You're talking about Bon Scott.
What did I say? I said Brian Johnson. I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant to say Bon Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bon was in a band called Fraternity. The other singer was Vince Lovegroves. And
That's it, yeah. They were like a big thing back then over there.
Oh, yeah, man. They were one of the biggest ones there, There's the bands in Australia and that were like the Tats, was that too, Cold Chisel, Fraternity, and Heaven started to get his feet in the door and sort of thing. And actually, when Bon left Fraternity to join up with AC/DC, and Jimmy Barnes left Cold Chisel. All these names, nobody's going to be familiar with them here now, but Jimmy Barnes from Cold Chisel, which is one of the biggest bands in Australia, and I joined Fraternity and that, and now went for the gig with Chisel. And all these guys, all these singers are all Scotsmen, You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all
it's
Scottish.
True. There's something in the water over there.
No, it's something. It's a penal colony. We all get sent out there, and that's a bloody kill.
Oh, God.
As you can tell, I've got a real Texas accent, haven't I?
Yeah. Well, you've been there long enough, so it happens. It happens. So, I know it's hard because, like you said, a lot of the guys are in Australia right now. But, yeah, it's a lot easier today, like, as far as the recording process goes, because, with the Internet and the technology we have, you guys could be in any part of the world and put a whole album together, doing it that way. But you think you'll ever get together to come here to the U.S. to do some shows, or would you put together maybe another lineup with guys from here so you can do a tour around the country here?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. The plan is that after we finish the Australian tour, we're doing Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland. Actually, there's talk. We've got a couple in Kyoto in Japan, one in Tokyo, and back to the States. Well, I'm coming back to the States. The rest of the guys in that, they all want to come over here. So I think it's going to be a good run. I'd like to get the original Australian guys come over here and kick ass because we were definitely a live band. And I would love it. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it would be great. Allan, if you go back to the band when it's first getting started, how hard was it, to just get your name out there and break into the scene? Did it take a long time to get noticed, or did it come right away for the band?
Oh no, man, we paid our dues. It's like the Aussie bands, like ACD, you name it. Anybody like that has to pay their dues. And we did like 320 gigs in 1 year. We're doing double nighters and 3 a night and that sort of thing. So that's what it was like in Australia, and that. So you really pay your dues get noticed. No such thing as an overnight thing, I don't think,
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. It didn't even exist back then. It's just today with the internet, it's just so much easier to get your band out there. So a lot of people go that route, but they forget how hard it is, like to put in all the work, like I said, of playing show after show after show, getting stiffed by managers and record companies and club promoters, and it is a long, hard road. But we didn't know any better back in the day because you went to your record store and you got the album. That's all you would know about the band. There was no magazines, no coverage.
Yeah.
It was all like word of mouth back then. So it was kind of hard to learn about who the bands were.
It's just like a kid when you're doing this and you want to get out of your town and that sort of thing. Sign on the dotted line. Okay, just show me where to sign. You sign your life away, and then it takes the rest of your life to get all your stuff back.
Yeah, that's true. That's the worst part about it.
But that's the way it is, And like I say, you do it for fun and that, and then you have to become a bit of a businessman, and take care of your affairs, I suppose, But this lineup, this tour we're doing, we're looking forward to that, and I really want to get the guys back to America, and they all want to come back too, and get back on the road again. So headline these tours and that. There's a lot of stuff happening just now and that. A lot of bands going out doing it. So why can't we?
That's right. You got to strike while the iron's hot. Right now, rock and metal has got a big resurgence. There's a lot of young fans coming into all the bands, like that we grew up with back in the 70s and the 80s, and it's a good time to get out there again. And I know the Australia show is probably going to be fantastic, man. I just wish we can get you guys over here, especially in the New York area. You have to come back to Ditmars Boulevard and do something.
Oh, man, I'll come back to New York anytime. I love New York. I love it.
Yeah, you're just going to have to bring a gun and a knife with you for going back to Ditmars Boulevard these days. It's a different place. But, Alan, I got Tommy on the line with me. Tommy, you there still?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, tell me how, buddy.
Well, you mentioned before all the people that you played with. Is anybody, obviously, the AC/DC thing, did you ever actually have an audition with AC/DC, or you just recommended by the brothers?
Oh, no, I went into Albert Studios in Sydney. Actually, see, the boys were in London at the time when Bond passed away.
Right.
So they were over there, and when the shit hit the fan, I went into the studio and with George and Harry, who produced a lot of the AC/DC albums and that, and just went in there and we took out Bond's vocals and shoved me on it and mixed me down. Of course, I never ever got a copy of any of the stuff in that, but it was pretty good at the time, and it was a feather in my hat, it gave me the opportunity in that to get my name around, get the band's name around. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Were they old Bond songs or newer songs that ended up on the Back in Black album?
No, I done a whole lot of Rosie, Sin City, Shut Down in Flames.
Right, the traditional stuff. Okay. Yeah. No, because there's a lot of rumors around that they started to write Back in Black material with Bond, and there may be some demos around there. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, they had a lot of the album written and that sort of thing, and that when Bond passed away.
Wow.
I know Brian and that came in and added his flavor in that, and my hat's off to him. It's good, but it gave me the opportunity. I'm quite you don't ever think about how lucky you are you're doing this kind of thing, because it's just like, hey, something I did. But it is a bit of a big deal,
Yeah. Well, you never know, what could have happened. It could have just been, a band out of Australia, might not have hit. You just don't know. It's a roll of the dice,
That's it.
It depends how the record company got behind them just at that right time, had a lot to do with it. I mean, they deserved all the, we were fans from way back when we were buying the imports from England and from Australia, whatever we can get here in New York, even before they were signed to any American deal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
pretty cool.
Well,
It's a whole different ball game now.
You definitely were part of the history, and that in it itself is a great thing. And to have the success that you had with the Heaven, and if you can continue it, that would be great. And we would really love to hear you, do something.
I'd love to get back there and let the rest of the country in that, see Heaven who never caught them the first time around,
Right.
Well, I'm glad to say I caught you guys a couple of times the first time around. You guys played with a lot of bands back in the day. You were all over the place. And like I was saying before, Alan, when Not Gonna Have His Door came out, you had Lita Ford on the record, Glenn Hughes, Ronnie Dio did some of the backing vocals on Evil Eyes. Did you know all these people back in the day and ask them to come on there, or how did you manage to hook up with so many people for that one record?
Interesting.
Yeah, we hung out at the Rainbow on Sunset, No, we became friends, These guys are just other guys, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just like, Tommy, this guy, that guy. Well, I knew Joey Elliott from Def Leppard. I know Ronnie and Sharon, Ozzy, all that sort of thing. They're just regular people. And I went down the Rainbow one night. Actually, I was recording the Cherokee on the second album, the Cherokee Studios, and hell, we took a break, went down the Rainbow. Ronnie was there. I said, hey, want to come and do some backup vocals? Shit, okay, let's do it. Wow. That's the way it happened,
Yeah.
Great. You never got Lemmy on any of your records, huh?
No, I've seen Lemmy walking around plenty of nights, mate. I'll tell you that now. Yeah.
I hear you can't get him out of the Rainbow.
Yeah, no, he's got an apartment in the back of the bloody Rainbow.
Yeah. He's got his own little hut.
He gets drunk, he can stumble home. Shit.
God bless him.
Oh, man.
That's some good stuff. Hey, Alan, I only got about 5 minutes left in the show, man, and I want to get on some of your music. Why don't you give me one of the new songs you sent me over that you want me to play? I got Woman on Woman, H.O.T. What do you want me to get on?
I think I sent you one there, When We Rock.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, blast that one out and see how that goes. And that these things, and I just mixed these off the board, and they're not mastered or anything yet. And this is with the Australian guys, and see what you think.
All right.
I enjoy it, and Alan, thank you very much for talking to me today, man. I really do appreciate it. Please come back anytime you want. We have more time to talk, and we'll have a good time.
I want to thank you and thank everybody out there and that, and Heaven will be back.
Excellent.
That's all that matters. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night, bro. Good night.
Man, I would love to talk to these people all night. I hate that we have a 2-hour show. We can only get so much on.
Yeah.
It kills me, man. It kills me. But like I said, Alan sent me over some brand new Heaven songs. I'll get 1 or 2 on. The live show is probably going to end at 10 minutes. I'm going to stay on a little bit long and play some more music because 10 times the amount of people listen to the podcast is a live show. So to them, it's like all one. They don't know that went off the air, so we'll do that. But this is brand new Heaven, When We Rock. that was some brand new Heaven, When We Rock. That's some really good stuff. I'm going to get on one more Heaven song. We'll go back to the old days. And then I don't know if you want to hang out, Tommy. I'm going to start another 10, 15 minutes just to play a few more tunes tonight in the podcast afterwards. If you want to hang, if not, I understand.
About 5 minutes or so, yeah.
All right, that's good enough. That's good enough. Well, I want to remind everybody, this Thursday, 1 p.m. on the Metal Matinee, get your passports out. We're getting on a flight. We're heading to Finland for the Wide World of Metal. We're going to feature all Finnish bands this weekend. So that should interest Kenny because he always hangs out with the Finnish ambassador. So tune in this Thursday at 1 o'clock. And, hey, what do we got next Sunday? Next Sunday is the end of the month, but this month went by really quick.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Amazing.
Wow, the 29th. Our guest is Mem von Stein of Exuma.
Oh.
And Greg Hill of Damage. Got a great show next week, so don't forget to tune in. But right now, I'm going to get on one more Heaven tune, and then we're going to want to be off the air right after that, and we'll go into the podcast for a couple of songs. And I want to thank everybody for listening today. I want to thank Bobby and Mike from Attacker for talking to us earlier on, and Allan Fryer from Heaven. The best of luck with his album, and same thing with the new Attacker lineup. Hey, how about we go back to the first Heaven record for some fantasy?
All right.
Sound good to you?
Sounds great.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I'll see you Thursday at 1 o'clock. All right, I was Heaven with Fantasy. The live show was done, but I didn't get to play a lot of music tonight because we did a lot of talking with that guest. So just hanging out a little bit, going to play a few more tunes for you. I'll get one more brand new Heaven on, so it gives you a reason to have to listen to the podcast. If you listen to the live show, it gives you a reason to come back. And for all the people that listen to the podcast, you get to hear all these songs that the live listeners didn't get to listen to tonight. So let me see. Alan sent me over a couple of songs. How do I get on HOT? Hot. Brand New Heaven. Man, I tell you, I can't wait for that record to come out. I hope it comes out soon. Some great music there by Heaven, a couple of new songs, and one mixed in the middle of them, Fantasy. Right, I got some brand new music for you. This is a band called Age of Fire.